Good morning. Happy Sunday. And of course, I take a breath just as the point that it does its little countdown to tell me I'm going live. Great timing there, Bon. So, welcome to Sunday's Early Morning Intuitive Guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom to start our day. Ooh, and I just heard the geese as they're going over. Blessings on your way. Nice deep breath in. Good morning, Joe Neal. Glad you are here. Inhaling and exhaling deeply. Taking in life. Good morning, Catherine. Glad you are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a kick-ass reading today. Major kick-ass reading today. Good morning, Beth. Good morning, good morning. And I think what it will do is put us all in the position, hopefully, of being kindly assessing ourselves. Good morning, Mel. Welcome. Good morning, Beth. Hello, hello. Everybody's starting to roll in. I love my practical rebels. You guys are awesome. So I even made a little note for myself because yesterday there was something I wanted to say. And after the fact, I thought, oh, I never did say that. Because I get on a roll and things are coming through and I just spew out whatever's coming through and forget to say the things that I want to say. So I have cheat notes. Ta-da! And of course it's on a drug pad that is probably, I don't even know how old. It's for an antibiotic, but the drug reps used to bring in all paraphernalia for the MDs and DOs. Good morning, Carolyn, and I saw someone else go flying past. Welcome to everybody who's here. Anyway, we made a haul on pens and paper, and sticky notes, all that stuff as they're trying to get you to buy their crap. But my favorite pen ever, and they left us a whole box, good morning, Cindy, was for Viagra. And when you press the button, it went, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. I think it quit working on me. There's poetic justice there, I think. Anywho, the chapter for today, we've been doing a lot of work on mindset, and this is a mindset piece. But I think it's a personal responsibility mindset piece, and responsibility in the freeing sense, not in the burdening you sense, but in the freeing sense. When I take on this responsibility, I set myself free. Let's say that again. I like that. When I take on this responsibility for myself and my thoughts and my feelings, I set myself free. That's where we're going today. So let us start with a little story. First, let's start with some breathing and some tapping wherever you want to tap. I like here, but I already did a little tapping this morning. So breathing in through the nose. Preparing for our words, exhaling. Breathing in through the nose. Drawing in healing golden light. Exhale. All that no longer serves you. Cleaning and clearing. We're doing the spiritual car wash for ourselves here. Inhale. And exhale. Doesn't that feel better? Doesn't that feel better? So, I have to tell you about a conversation I had last night with my beloved oldest child. He is 34. He lives in Portland, Oregon. He is an amazing human, and he is racked with anger right now about what's going on in the world. He does a ton of volunteer stuff, and he's a creative, an artist, and he just sees from a different perspective, which is so good. We need many, many, many perspectives. What we need that we don't have right now is an appreciation of valuing an openness to all of those perspectives. Doesn't mean we have to take them on, doesn't mean we have to believe them, but to receive them with grace would be lovely. So, he and my sister had a bit of a falling out day before because really they're talking the same thing, but the energy is so heightened, you almost can't have a conversation with anybody, right? And it didn't go well, and they both felt bad afterwards. And so we were just having some conversation about that, and the anger was there. The anger was there. And the grief, I could feel the grief in my child. And so I had an amazing opportunity to practice what I'm preaching here, to practice the Sharon Ellison stuff. And I feel from my end of things, I don't know how he feels about it, but we said I love you at the end, so that's always a good sign, right? I feel like I did pretty good. I did pretty good. I called out the things where he was shaming whole groups of people, boomers mostly. You guys screwed this all up, blah, blah, blah. And laid some groundwork for, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at what we can do. For me to crawl in a hole because I'm a boomer, not going to happen. Have we made mistakes? Certainly. Are we going to continue to make mistakes? Certainly. Is his generation making mistakes? Absolutely. Welcome to being human. Welcome to being human. And the shame-blame game clearly is getting us nowhere. Well, it's getting us further bifurcated, further divided. And not even just bifurcated, trifurcated. I mean, we've got splits all over the place, right? We've got fault lines all over the place. So, here's our opportunity to mend, to seam some of those fault lines. I was watching one of my favorite furniture flipper dudes last night, and he at one point hauled out the wood putty and was filling in cracks, and I'm just thinking that looks like what we're going to be doing right now, puttying in these fissures, creating a smoother surface that everyone can traverse, and create your own sense of, what is my responsibility in this thing? What do I choose to own so that I can set free who I'm meant to be, what I'm here to do, etc. So let's jump into our reading, shall we? Tosha Silver. I was sitting here thinking, I wonder what, I was putting my earrings in. I wonder what we're going to be looking at today. Is it going to be a card deck? The internal pendulum kind of went, nope, not a card deck. Oh, I wonder if it's going to be one of the books. Yep. And it was Tosha. And the chapter that I picked, this time I hand-picked it for us. You're welcome. I wanted something that gives us the opportunity to take a look at ourselves and what are we doing? We, the individual, and we, the collective. But we as practical rebels, what are we doing in this tumultuous time that we're in? So I picked chapter 6, Be What You Seek. Be what you seek. And then the subtitle is, Your Word is Your Law. Your word is your law. What you talk about, that's the way Joanne Barnes, a national sales director for Mary Kay, talked about it when I was in the process of earning my first career car. You are what you say. So what words are you using? And what energy are you putting toward those words? If you're right now saying, this is terrible, horrible, awful, what are you putting into our world? If you're saying, does that mean you have to go, this is fabulous, this is wonderful? No. Good morning, Janine. But you can say, pick a word. This is inconvenient, or this feels unpleasant, or, scale it. Scale it to something that feels like you can do something with it. Okay? So the words here will help with this, I think, because she picks some pretty interesting stories to make her point. So the quote is by Anonymous. Thoughts are boomerangs, returning with precision to their source. Choose wisely what you throw. Let's hear it again. Thoughts are boomerangs, returning with precision to their source. Choose wisely what you throw. What are you throwing out there this past week? What are you putting out there? And if you've been throwing out the terrible, horrible, awful stuff, the us versus them stuff, the oh my God, we're going to hell in a handbasket stuff, this week, let's pause on that. Let's pause on that. Let's take a breath. Let's Byron Katie the shit out of this thing. It is what it is. It is what it is. You can spend 4 years or longer lamenting the choice that was made, arguing that, well, I didn't make that choice. Blah. Not helpful, guys. Not helpful. So let's move into our word is our law. What are we flinging out there for a boomerang? Because it's going to come back to us. A strange metaphysical truth. Prosperity is never conditional upon the state of your bank account, but on the state of your mind. And let's look at prosperity in a broader sense than just money. Prosperity, the feeling that you're living a good life. It's never dependent just on one aspect. The dollar signs, the relationships, the health, all that stuff, your spirituality. It's all of that stuff. It's all of that stuff. And I think we've talked about this. I should dig this out one time. Let me make a note here, and we'll do this tomorrow. Wheel for tomorrow. And some of you have probably done this, but maybe you haven't revisited it in a while. But there's this wheel with wedges like, it looks like a pie, and the wedges are labeled with things like work, leisure, health, wealth, blah, 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 blah. And then you put a dot in that wedge where you feel like you currently are with regard to manifesting your part of that. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate you posting that one. It is a fabulous quote. Too bad it's by anonymous. I'd love to give credit to whomever was that brilliant. You put your little dots in all these pie wedges. You connect the dots. You look at two things. A, how round is it? Because it's a wheel, people. And if you've got one of those that's way out of whack, it is not going to roll. And two, how close to the edge of satisfaction are you? If you've got a wheel, but it's way to the center and you're not satisfied with anything in your life, that's not so good. But if you're out here and it's pretty round, you're in a good spot, regardless of what's going on around you. So we will do that tomorrow. That'll be a wonderful one for us to do tomorrow. So let's find where we are. Prosperity is never conditional upon the state of your bank account, but on the state of your mind. Matrika Shakti is the Sanskrit term for the supreme power of one's own word. I am so glad this is helpful. Good, good, good. That's what I'm trying to do. I had a friend of mine from high school send me a message, and he said, "You're doing good work." And I liked that. That felt good. That felt like, because when you put stuff out there, you never really know where it's landing or how it's landing. Is this helpful to people? So when you all give me feedback, that's very helpful. Hello, Linda. Welcome, welcome. So there's 11 of you here today. Hear this. We craft our world by what we say. What are we crafting right now? We craft our world by what we say. What are we crafting right now? And you can point the fingers to everybody else who's saying not good stuff too. How many fingers are pointing back at you? All right? Clean up our own front porch. Let's clean up our own front porch. So now she's going to share some stories that make this point. And I love the stories she picked because it makes it so clear. Good morning, Renee. Glad you are here. Happy Sunday. So here's the first story. 2 women called me from opposite ends of the spectrum. One, named Marie, was a savvy entrepreneur who sold an internet company at the start of the tech boom. Overnight, she became a multimillionaire who owned several houses around the world. Yet, she called to say, "Do you know how hard it is to live on $2 million a year?" No. With all my expenses, seriously, it's not much. Every night, listen to this, every night I seethe in regret that I didn't sell my company for more. I can barely sleep. There's the Byron Katie stuff of creating your own suffering through arguing with what is. She made the decision. She sold it for what she sold it for. She can continue to rail against herself for having done it wrong, sold it for too little, forevermore, amen, or she can get on with living her life. Right? Let's keep going. I was so flabbergasted, I spit my tea all over the phone and had to run for a towel. Really? I laughed, wiping the receiver. then why not sell a couple of the homes? Does your happiness really depend on 5? Oh, I never could, she protested. I've waited all my life for them, and no one will believe I'm often broke. She continued to call often to bemoan her resources. One day, I'd finally had it. See, even Tosha Silver gets to the point where we're going to have a come to Jesus conversation. I said, Marie, I adore you, but listen, I've never owned a home, and I live in an apartment, yet I feel like the freaking Queen of England whenever we talk. I mean, how do I have more than enough, but you don't? So are you ready to change how you talk about money? I didn't hear from her again for a long time. Surprise, surprise. Let me grab a drink here. And what I hope when I put that kind of comment out there, the challenge, I'm trying to remember what Sharon Ellison calls it. It's change challenge, something challenge. I can't remember. Anyway, and when people do that for me, not to me, for me, I hope we respond. Ooh, let me think about that. Let me think about that. It stings, makes me want to get defensive, but let me think about that. I didn't hear from her again for a long time. Then she called out of the blue to say she'd declared bankruptcy. Through a series of strange upheavals, she'd lost almost everything. Her word of poverty had indeed become her law. Now the second story. Meanwhile, Lori, the other client, lives a modest life, but she exists in a true state of grace. Her gratitude and openness, how much breathing are we doing for openness, right? Okay, universe, show me, guide me, help me out here. I'm ready, willing, and able to receive. Her gratitude and openness pretty much draw whatever she needs. Parking spaces beckon in crowded neighborhoods. Extra jobs arrive for extra expenses. Loyal friends fall from the sky. And she wasn't always like this, because some of you are going to go, yeah, well, it's easy for her, but not. I'm a what? I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a whatever. I'll make one up. I'm a single mom with 5 kids, blah, blah, blah. Yes, and she wasn't always like this. She used to be a jealous Taurus who seriously resented anyone else's good fortune. I'm a Taurian. I felt that as a young person. How come he got, head and shoulders, whatever. I remember one that really infuriated me in graduate school. There were 8 in my graduate school class, and we all were competing for side jobs in the mental health field to get training hours, blah, blah, blah. And there was one person who, his appearance is irrelevant in the larger picture, but it was very relevant. He was the grandfatherly looking guy with the beard and the brown eyes, blah, blah, blah. And he looked like a psychologist. And then there were all the rest of us in varying states of whatever. And he got the job. But his scores weren't as good on any of the testing that we had done. His countenance, his willingness to make good clinical decisions was not there. But because we most of us believed, and he believed also, because of his appearance, he got the job. The rest of us were just pissed off. It's like, come on, can't, and it was a mental health clinic. Can't a mental health clinic be a little more with it than that? No, apparently not. All the stuff. Hello, Bobby. Glad you were here. Welcome, welcome. So, the jealous Taurus who seriously resented anyone else's good fortune. Here's the line. If you grab onto nothing else out of this whole reading, take this line with you. Fluff it, buff the aura of this line. Ready? But she taught herself a new way to be. Right? She always says, I have no idea how, but miracles constantly arrive. My needs are always met. Now imagine living those words. I have no idea how, which implies it's not her business to figure out how. God, the universe, spirit, creator, figures out the how. We figure out why. Why is this important? She wanted the grace, living in a true state of grace. Stew of grace. That's kind of fun too. So I have no idea how, but miracles constantly arrive. My needs are always met. Can you see how grace-filled you can be when you believe that? Pretty cool, huh? So here's another part of her story. Recently, she felt an urge to travel to Asia, but had no superfluous funds. Undeterred, she invoked a divine order and just waited. She said, "If I'm meant to go, let the perfect conditions come. Otherwise, let me be content where I am." She was cool either way. Cue the orange card. Embrace the process, release the outcome. She was cool either way. All right? Is that easy for us? No. Is it worth practicing? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. May 14th. Yep, we've got all kinds of Taurians on this call. Yay. But again, that is not a life sentence. I'm a Taurus, therefore I must be. No. She taught herself a new way to be. We have choices. We have cortex. It makes a difference. All right? The day before she needed to buy her plane ticket, a neighbor called who made films. He asked if he could rent her home for a shoot, offering the exact travel amount. And I know that there are those of you who are going to say, well, that stuff doesn't happen. It happens. It happened to me. I wanted to go for a training. This is years ago. And for years, I had the check stub tacked on my bulletin board as a reminder that miracles, if this is what you want to call them, happen and happen to regular people like me. I wanted to go for a training in Crestone, Colorado. Do you want to know how difficult it is to get to Crestone, Colorado? It is northern exposure on steroids. So you land in this little bitty airport called Alamosa. And actually our flight out of there, I think it was like a 5-seater plane, and the flight attendant was actually the pilot, she and her husband together. And yeah. But you land in Alamosa, you rent a car, which they have rental cars there only because this is the nature of this beast. You drive across this huge valley, and you get to this one place, like halfway across, and there's this little bitty, it's a platform. I would say it was maybe desk height off of the ground, a platform. And my travel companion said, "Oh, I read about this. This woman is an astronomer and she loves looking at the stars, but she's afraid of heights." So but because she's in this gigantic valley, she had access. She could see what she needed to see. She didn't need to be up above tree level, whatever. So then you get to the base of this mountain that is an aquifer. It's got water underneath, and it's crystal. There's the way the land formed, it's crystals underneath the earth. So every faith community I think there is there because of the energy of this place. So there's an ashram, and I mean, you name it, it's there. An amazing place. I haven't been there in years, but just an amazing place. But again, I needed the money to get there, and it wasn't going to be a cheap endeavor because I would be off of work. When I don't work, I don't make money. That's not a great way to set up your job, just let me tell you that. And I needed plane fare, I needed hotel, I needed the conference itself, blah, 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 blah. So, dial back 6 months earlier. We had gotten paperwork to fill out. As a psychologist, one of the insurance companies that I contracted with was Cigna Insurance. And this was a class action lawsuit against Cigna Insurance for their discriminatory practices against psychologists. So as my office person and I filled out the paperwork, I laughed and said, yeah, 6 months from now we'll see $10, right? You know how those class action suit things go. 6 months from then, right before I needed to make my plane ticket, I got the check, $3,400. So, and prior, the Friday before I got this check on Monday, I'd had a training class. I had done the first level of this training. It's Psych K. It's one of the tools I use. And I know me. I have to practice. If I want something to stay solid in my head, I have to practice. So I invited the other members of my class. Let's get together once a month and practice our skills. So that Friday, I had talked in this class, our practice with each other, about wanting to go to this thing and wanting to draw in abundance. And so we did a bunch of balancing for that. And I laughed, kind of, this is cool. And Monday the check showed up. And I had asked, when I did my balance, I had asked for the money to go to the conference. And I'm thinking the conference itself, which was a chunk of change, the universe gave me the conference, the airfare, cover my being off of work for a week, blah, 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 blah. I mean, the universe delivered. So I'm a firm believer. The divine will take care of it. I don't need to know how. I just need to know why, right? So she ended up going on her trip. Here's another little story from another time. She waited in Manhattan for a bus during a blizzard, sorry that she had forgotten her shawl. Spying a wool scarf a few feet away on the snowy sidewalk, she walked over and put it on, laughing that it was fuchsia, the exact color of her coat. The Shakti as perfect stylist. I've joked that she has so much faith and generosity, the angels compete to help her. There's nothing she needs that doesn't arrive one surprising way or another, sometimes in the final hour. Now that's abundance. And note the word there. There's nothing she needs. Doesn't mean everything shows up. She might have a want, and maybe that's not in her highest and best good, and it doesn't show up. Whatever. So, what do you glean from this? I'm hoping one of the things you glean from this is it is not about our external circumstances. It is not about our external circumstances. Whatever's going on in our world is not the be-all and end-all. What's going on in our inner world is the be-all and end-all. Now, does that mean we just accept inequality, roll over? No, not at all. We keep working on the stuff we're working on. Here's one of those languaging things. Jonil, remember we were going to make the list of the words we need to leave out? Fighting the good fight. No. Working on what needs to be worked on. Changing the language. I'm not fighting anything. I'm going to flow with what is. If I don't like something, I will see what I have for influence. And how do I influence from here and here, rather than trying to cram the square peg in the round hole. Yes. So, be what you seek. Are you modeling exactly what it is that you say you want? Are you saying your word is your law? Are you saying exactly what it is that you want? Or are you wasting your precious breath on lamenting what you don't want, thus calling more of it to you? Blink, blink, blink. We can all do much better on this. Right? So please catch the warlike language. It's everywhere in our language. I'm aiming, right? She's fighting cancer. It's everywhere. Look for it. When you find examples, put them in our feed. Let's start a list of the things that we're going to begin to remove from our language, because it is that warlike language and we're not going there anymore. We're done with that. Be what you seek. Your word is your law. Thoughts are boomerangs, returning with precision to their source. Choose wisely what you throw. Have an awesome day, all of you. Happy Sunday. This is a beautiful day. Enjoy it. Something's niggling. Hang on. Let's see. Yes, there we go. Beautiful, Carolyn. I love it. I am not fighting cancer. I am thanking God for taking it and turning it to love. Yes. Cancer as a wake-up call. Cancer as a walk we do. Cancer as an opportunity. Is that easy to do? Hell no. Because we've so created this whole mindset thing around it. Do something different. Choose your language. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Oh, I remembered. Yay! Such a good brain. I also want to point out that we are ripe in the season for my Black Friday coaching specials. So those of you who wait for the 2 times a year that I put my coaching specials on sale, now's the time. If you're on the YEMIG mailing list, you received a mailing about it. If you're on my empowerment coaching mailing list, which is, I don't know, 700 people or something, you've received it once. I'll send it out again. I'm going to post it on Facebook today. Hopefully I'll get around to doing that. But it runs through Black Friday at midnight. It's your opportunity to coach with me, do this stuff for you personally. Yes, we're all working together here too. But maybe gift yourself. Maybe this is the year that you gift yourself with your opportunity to change some of the things with guidance that you'd like to change. So watch for that. Have an awesome Sunday, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.